Okay, everybody, so I hope we're all safe and just kind of making the best of the current crazy situation. You might have seen it on the syllabus. For assignment 10, that was meant to be a class lecture. We can't do it in class, obviously, so we'll do it through remote. We're going to work on doing some data analysis and just kind of some data entry into SPSS, which is something that should be useful for all of you on your own group projects, right? So Freeman did send around via email instructions on how to download SPSS for free as students. I'll show you really quickly the best way to do that now, okay? So you can go into your web browser, and then you're going to type in all your password information, and you sign in. And then you're going to go into My UT account, and then through the My UT account, you'll have a window that'll open up like on your left that'll say Log into Services. You'll click that window that'll come up on your left, and then you can see on your right of a new window exactly how to download SPSS. It'll say like SPSS for students. You click on that, and it'll give you download instructions. The only reason I'm not clicking on that now is if I do, you'll see like my rocket number and all my personal information, which probably would be fine, but maybe wouldn't be a good idea. So then the other thing you need to do is bring up assignment 10, which is on Blackboard. So you bring that up. And we'll go through it together as we enter the data into SPSS. So the next thing you want to do, assuming SPSS has been successfully downloaded to your device, is to open it, right? So let's do that now. So once you open SPSS, it's going to bring up different menus. Just click New Dataset, Open, okay? And so now we have our new dataset. I'm just going to bring this over here to the right. And so the way SPSS works is you get variables as columns, okay? And you get participants as rows, okay? So let's go back to assignment 10 here on the screen. So you're told that a researcher wants to see if individuals make more utilitarian decisions in isolation, which is by themselves, versus when they are in groups. Researchers had participants respond to 21st choice moral dilemmas across 3 conditions in a between subject design. Participants responded to these moral scenarios in isolation, in groups of 2, or in groups of 4. Regardless of condition, participants made their own personal responses, but when in groups, individual responses were viewable to the entire group. The frequency of utilitarian decisions was measured as the DV. Okay, and so then I presented some fake data below. So each one of these data scores, so 16, 13, 11, and so on, those all represent an individual participant score. And then on the left of those numbers, you can see isolation, groups of 2, groups of 4. So that's a variable. But the first variable we want to enter into SPSS is the dependent variable, which is utilitarian decisions out of 20. Okay? So if you go into variable view on SPSS, right? So this window down here, you can type in the variable. So we'll call it utilitarian, and SPSS doesn't like spaces, so you either have to do an underscore or just not have a space at all. So we'll say utilitarian decisions, and then we click off, and it generates other factors for us. We don't want any decimals because we don't have any decimals in our data. And then for the label, just say utilitarian decisions out of 20. For labels, you can leave spaces, okay? We don't need to code any values. That's just not something we need to do. And then we're going to make it a scale variable because this is a continuous variable, and scale in SPSS refers to interval ratio data, okay? So interval ratio data is the continuous data that we talked about earlier in the semester. So go back to data view, and the first thing you want to do is enter the data into this first column. So participants made 16, 13, 11 utilitarian decisions, 15, and we're just going to go down the row here. So 14, 12, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 5, 17, 20, 7, 8, 3, 3, 14. And that's 20. So I made it to where there's 20 people in each group, which is what we want per cell, right? So we're good there. That's perfect. So because we're at the 20th participant, so now we're at the 21st. We're moving to groups of 2. 11, 6, 2, 4, 6, 17, 7, 19, 19, 4, 0, 3, 5, 6, 8, 15, 5, 6, 8. Oh, I think I messed up here. 15, 5, 4, 17, and 1. Okay, there we go. All right, so 41. Now groups of 4. 1, 2, 4, 11, 10, 12, 18, 3, 3, 4, 2, 5, 11, 13, 1, 0, 7, 0, 3, and 4. Okay, so we have 60 total participants. Everything looks good. And the nice thing for your actual group projects is you won't have to do this. All the data should be generated in like Google Sheets, or if you're using Qualtrics, in an Excel file. So that's really, really nice. You won't have to hand code everything. And really, honestly, you should never hand code things on an actual project, but this is just an assignment to get you familiar with SPSS, so it's fine. So the next thing we need to do is enter another variable for condition. So we need the system to understand that these participants were in different conditions. That is, some of them were in conditions of isolation, or they responded in groups of 2, or they responded in groups of 4, right? So we need to tell the program that that's the case. The way we do that is we make a new variable. So you're going to go to variable view, and let's call this one condition, okay? Super simple. Again, we're not going to want decimals, so we're going to click that off. Label, we can say ISO versus groups, okay? And then the other thing we want to do is we do actually want to code as values here. So we'll do that in a second, though. So we're going to go back to the data view, and I think the best way to do this is to code the conditions in a way that makes intuitive sense. So we have to give these conditions a number so that the system understands that they're different. So what if we say that the first condition, responding in isolation or by yourself, is just a 1, okay? So we'll make this all 1, okay? Then I'm just going to copy this, Control-C if you're using Windows, Control-V, okay? So now we have all of our participants who were in condition 1 because we entered them in first, okay? Then if you're in groups of 2, I think it makes sense to give this a score of 2. So I'm going to go Control-C, Control-V, okay? And so all of our participants who were in groups of 2 are coded as condition 2. And then I think it makes more sense, rather than calling it condition 3, to call it condition 4 if they responded in groups of 4, okay? So I'm going to do that now. And again, because we entered these all in order, we can just enter it like this. So now we have 20 participants in condition 4, 20 in condition 2, 20 in condition 1. It's really, really important that you enter all this data incorrectly, or you're actually going to get a different response than what I get. And we should really make sure that we're accurate here, that this makes sense. So it should go 16, 13, 11, 15, 14, 12, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 5, 17, 20, 7, 8, 3, 3, 14, 11, 6, 2, 4, 6, 17, 7, 19, 19, 4, 0, 3, 5, 6, 8, 15, 5, 4, 17, 1, 1, 2, 4, 11, 10, 12, 8, 3, 3, 4, 2, 5, 11, 13, 1, 0, 7, 0, 3, 4. Okay, it looks good. So we're completely accurate on that so far. So the assignment says these data should be entered into SPSS, record means and standard deviations per condition. So that's the first thing we want to do. So the best way to do that is we can go into a one-way ANOVA, which I'll actually show you how to generate the means and standard deviations through the one-way. I think that's the best way to do it because we're going to do a one-way ANOVA anyways. The assignment says you're going to be asked to do 2 analyses. First, we want to compare utilitarian response frequency per condition. So I did say we wanted to actually record values for condition. So I forgot to do that. So let's do that really quickly. So you're going to go into variable view and click on values. So once you hover over the column, you're going to get these little dots. You click them, and then it wants to know a value. So we entered a value of 1 for isolation, right? So isolation. And you have to click add, and it wants to know the value for 2. So we had a code of 2 for people in groups of 2. So we can say groups of 2, okay? And then for values of 4, which is what we coded into that column, the second column, we have groups of 4, okay? So add, click OK. If you go back to the data view, and then you click this little chart up here, it's going to show the numbers we clicked here as values. And so we can see isolation, groups of 2, groups of 4. So it looks good. It looks really good.